Hi, my name is Katelyn Bladel and I am a teaching artist at Fleischer Art Memorial, and we will be spending the next 5 days learning about printmaking, which is awesome. As an artist myself, I mainly work in photography, printmaking, and also do some small sculpture, so it's really exciting to be able to teach some printmaking here. Okay, so today what we're going to be doing is we're going to be making stencils, and we're going to be using those stencils to create a cool composition on our paper. So here is an example of mine here. So you can see here that I have 3 different stencils. I have this like long wiggly stencil, I have this like blob type of shape, and then I have this one up here, which is kind of like looks kind of like a dripping kind of stencil. So I only have 3 stencils here, and I'm just moving them around my paper and painting with different colors to create a cool composition. So that's what we are going to be doing today. And let me show you what those stencils look like here. So here's one of them. Like this. We're just going to be cutting them out of construction paper. Here's another. And here's my last one here. So let's get to work. Okay, so the first thing we want to do is grab a piece of construction paper. It doesn't matter what color, we're just using it to make a stencil. I've been doing more like abstract shapes, and I would also recommend that for you. Those will just be easier to use in the beginning. So here's a shape here. We want to leave space around the edge, so I would probably only do 2 shapes per piece of paper, but just grab a couple sheets of construction paper, and we're going to make 3 to 4 shapes. So those are 2 that I have here, and then we're just going to cut them out. Now you will notice that I do have this shape here, which is like quite a bit different. So do vary the types of shapes that you make here. And then I'm just gonna show you one quick thing that makes it easier to cut it out. If you fold your shape kind of in the middle and cut a slit right in the middle, then that gives you like a perfect hole to start cutting out the inside of the shape. Okay, so I'm going to use these 2 stencils I just cut. I'm also going to use this stencil that I've made before, and also this stencil here. Now that I have my stencils, I want to grab my piece of white mixed media paper, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to draw some lines in the background like you see here. So my shapes are more kind of abstract and curvy, so that's the type of lines I'm going to make in the background. This is just providing kind of some visual interest in the background. It doesn't have to take a long time. You're just adding a little bit of interesting detail here. Okay, so I have my paper background drawn. I have my blue, red, and yellow paint ready to go. And so now I'm just going to take my stencils, and I'm just going to sort of place them around, see kind of how I want them to be on the paper. Remember, we're going to be like layering them, so we kind of want to establish some different like areas here. So I'm probably just going to start with this one. It doesn't have to be on the whole paper. And I'm just going to paint this one red. Now what you can do is you can add tape on the sides if you want to hold it in place. You still are going to want to hold it down when you paint on the inside. A helpful tip is to paint from the construction paper onto your white paper. That's going to help give you a crisp edge here. Okay, so one shape is painted, so we can take this off. And there is our shape. And so let's repeat it with our yellow and blue in different shapes. Okay, so now we have 3 shapes on here, and we have blue, red, and yellow. So now I'm just gonna let this dry for just a second, and then I'm going to take my same 3 stencils and I'm gonna start to just place them in different spots and use a different color. So like over here, I'll do a yellow, over here, I'll do a blue, and then over here, I'll do a red, but I'll start to overlap the stencils and the colors and see how they look. Okay, so here is my composition now. This is after doing another round, full round of the shapes and using different colors and definitely playing around with layering, as you can see here, and just playing with where I was putting the shapes around my paper. This is a good time if you want to use maybe a smaller stencil and get some of these kind of smaller areas here, or you can just leave it as is, or you can just keep going around your paper. Okay, so here is my composition now. This is after doing another round, full round of the shapes and using different colors and definitely playing around with layering, as you can see here, and just playing with where I was putting the shapes around my paper. This is a good time if you want to use maybe a smaller stencil and get some of these kind of smaller areas here, or you can just leave it as is, or you can just keep going around your paper. Okay, so as I said, this is where I'm at with my paper right now. I have 6 shapes on here. We're layering. You of course can continue to add more stencils if you want, or more layers. Here is my other one here where I added a little bit more to it. Yeah, so printmakers use stencils most often in a process called monotyping. Mono means one, and that just means that process, instead of making many prints like a lot of processes you usually just make one, which makes sense because it's hard to place the stencil in the same place every time. So this will be my one image that looks just like this. So yeah, feel free to keep going, keep adding layers, or when you like it as it is, if you like it like this, or kind of move it around, see which way you like it, then you're done. Awesome. And I will see you for the next project.